If you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. That's right. If you can't handle the trouble that happens in life, your heart will crumble in those very moments. This is one of my all-time favorite proverbs out of the book of Proverbs, chapter 24, verse 10. If you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. And I want to unpack for you today on the Young Wise Man podcast two big truths that if you don't understand about the knowledge that this proverb is trying to convey to you, your life will be a ticking time bomb. That's right. This is the Young Wise Man podcast, episode 3, the time bomb. If you faint in the day of adversity. You know what? My first big point to unpack from this proverb starts right there. And you might be just as suspect as I once was, especially if you live in America and you live in the generation that I live in. And this is what we're taught to believe, that there is an easy life that you can attain to, that you can achieve. And if you attain to this easy life, that all the comforts and securities of what you like in your little heart can be yours. And that is the biggest lie. And at the beginning of this proverb, if you faint in the day of, it didn't say if the day of, but the day is coming. The day of adversity knocks on everybody's door. There's nobody that is immune to adversity. There's nobody who won't face financial, relational, emotional, spiritual, or physical adversity in their life. Impossible. But somehow, these marketing geniuses, man, they have done a really, really good job of selling a humongous lie. And that lie is that you can have an easy life. That there is a life that exists free of stress, free of worry, without drama or problems, and everything goes the way you want it to go. You know what? That's not true. And I know if you're listening to this, you're probably saying, amen, because you know it's not true. But for those who might hear this and they still have that desire in their heart to pursue a life of ease, of comfort, and adversity free, if you have the desire to run away from instead of embracing adversity, this is the warning to you, that don't let your life become a ticking time bomb, hoping, wondering, worrying that the day of adversity won't come visit you. Just the other day, I was sitting in the kitchen thinking about this episode, and an amazing image came to me. Imagine that your life is a house, and everybody gets to knock on the door from that traveling salesman, and his name is adversity. He knocks on everybody's door in the neighborhood. Those people who expect life to not receive that knock, they never expect that he's going to come to your house. When he does, you freak out. You close the door. You run away. You go upstairs and hide. But Mr. Adversity just keeps on knocking. He is not going to leave your door until he sells you what he came to sell you. And that is trouble. That is pain and hardship and all the things that we hate in life. But the person who is prepared for Mr. Adversity, the guy whose house is prepared, is ready when he receives the knock on the door, he knows exactly who it is. Mr. Adversity. You know what? I was expecting you. Why don't you come on in? And I'll sit you down at my table. I'll listen to what you have to say. I'll feed you a meal. I'll make you fat and sleepy. And I will sweep you right out the door that you came in. If you are prepared for adversity in your life, and you understand that it is a byproduct of having breath in your lungs, that things in life will be tough, your focus is different. You're not running away with your problems. So many people, they get smacked in the face by this adversity or this hard circumstance, right? It just comes out of the blue and you're caught off guard and you have a moment of shock. You have a moment of anxiety and then anger and fear and running away and depression, and you spend days, weeks, months, even years dealing with the shock that adversity knocked on your door before you can ever move forward and deal with it. But the other person whose perspective, whose mind completely expects life is going to be hard. Hard things are going to come my way. It's not an if, it's a when. Matter of fact, it could be today. I could get that knock, that phone call, that text, that message, that something is not going the way I like it. And when I expect that in my life, I'm not surprised by it. That doesn't mean that the butterflies in your stomach don't happen. It just means you don't have to deal with the shock of what happened when it happens, right? If you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. So my first point on this proverb that I love is be ready for adversity. Stop expecting the fast, easy, cheap, free lifestyle that the marketers have painted for you. And that's a whole different podcast episode, but I believe there's an epidemic going on right now of grandiose proportions, and it's the cheap, easy, fast, and free desire and lifestyle that marketers have hunted down the innermost longings of the hearts of human beings, and they're exploiting it because people hope that their life can be free from adversity. It's coming your way. Get ready. You might be in it right now. You might have a wave of adversity crashing over you right now. But that's okay, because that's what's supposed to happen if you have breath in your lungs. Now, the second thing that I've learned from this proverb that I feel like is so valuable, once you accept, once you acknowledge, once you understand that there is a day that will come your way that you don't want to deal with, but once you understand that it's inevitable, you can't avoid it, you prepare for it. Right? You ever seen those TV shows with the doomsday preppers? Man, those guys I feel like are on a different level. They're preparing for a day that they have yet to see. And there is wisdom in that. You have to prepare for the adversity that is coming your way. But how do you do that? How do you prepare for adversity when you don't know what the problem is going to be or when it's going to hit you, but you have to somehow prepare for it? And I got a couple things that I do in my own life that potentially could help you in yours. As you think about preparing for the day so you don't faint and grow weak in that day, but you stand strong with the strength of a lion, how do you do that? You do it by this one simple thing. Every single day, make yourself do something you don't want to do. Literally. Every single day, if you wake up and you don't want to wake up at that time, but you force yourself to wake up, you start yourself off facing adversity. Every single day, do something that you don't want to do. Sometimes you don't want to make that phone call. Sometimes, I just need a break. I just need time to myself. And there's nothing wrong with time to yourself and being a break. You don't need to be a workaholic. You don't need to go to extremes. But what you do need to do is train your heart and train your mind to deal with the things that you don't want to deal with on a daily basis. I mean, everybody knows the analogy, everybody understands the metaphor that your mind is a muscle and the muscles in your body are the same way. And if you do nothing with your muscles, they atrophy. So the same thing can be said about your quote unquote heart. If you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small because your heart is feeble. That's tied to your mental strength, your emotional capacity. So every single day, you should put yourself in a position where you're uncomfortable slightly. It's like lifting the weight a little bit more than you did yesterday. But before you know it, you're grabbing heavier and bigger weights on the weight rack. You're doing more reps. Your muscles have been strengthened. You are ready for battle. But you're not when every single day you make conscious decisions to do it the easier way, to deal with it tomorrow. You know, the world is really good at saying, you deserve this, fill in the blank. Time off, new car, new phone, new clothes, a nice meal, an evening to yourself. And you do deserve those things. But if on a daily, consistent basis, all you're doing is running away from harder things, challenging things, things you have yet to master, to understand, you're doing yourself a disservice. You are becoming a ticking time bomb. And it's sad, but I don't feel sorry for some people when I see them in situations because the compound of the decisions that you've made led you to be there. And you don't have to do some major heroic thing, or you don't have to have open heart surgery to be changed. But if you did this one small thing just every single day, do something that makes you feel uncomfortable, you will be more and more prepared for the day of adversity. Your heart will be strengthened and you'll be ready to handle the heavier load that might come your way today. It might be as soon as you finish listening to this episode that it hits you, or before you started. Who knows when it's going to come, but it is going to come and you have to be prepared. If you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small, and this is a golden nugget. This is something that I have learned, I have embraced, and I have applied in my life, and I'm not perfect at it, but I understand the direction I'm trending in, and I want to share that with you today on the Young Wiseman podcast, that you too can be prepared, expect challenges to come your way, and know that when they come their way, you will overcome them, you will destroy them, you will crush them, because you have been preparing for this day of adversity, and you won't faint. You won't grow weak. Your knees won't shake and break, and your heart won't cry, because you knew it was coming, and you're ready for the battle that it brings. I hope this episode has blessed you, that your strength will not be small, that you share this podcast with your friends and your family and with anybody and everybody that needs to hear wisdom, because wisdom is best when it's shared with others. It's John Shafi'i. Follow me on Instagram, YouTube channel, The Real Shafi'i. And until next time, it's the Young Wise Man Podcast.